rematch from Sunday where Envy 3-0'd them. I am super excited to see this game, and I think everyone is ready to play, Shogun.
Oh, I can only hope so. This is one of those sort of matches that I just get really excited to see. I hope everyone else is in the exact same boat as me, because this should be really good fun to watch. Not only do we get to watch one game, but we get to watch 5 potential games of 2 of the top European teams we have battle it out for a top 2 spot in the 3rd Ting Open Qualifier. We've done most of the hard work, just one more match to go, and I believe top 2 qualifies for our grand finals.
Yes, on February 3rd and 4th, so that should be really exciting. And of course, there's one more qualifier left for 2 more teams from Europe to make it there as well.
Absolutely, as we get into this match, just a feeling out stage for the time being. Expect to see a lot of players on those walls, though. Not going to allow those backboard plays to really come out, and instead, more passing plays. Look to try and find the gaps. Remco finds a big gap, and he's going to use it to take the ball into the net.
K-Dop to Turbo, but Turbo couldn't get any height on that clear. Hit directly into Remco, and then everyone's pulling out of net because they thought they had a great passing opportunity, and Remco hits it off the curve of the ceiling and secures that goal. And Remco, he's very similar to me to Torment. He doesn't get enough credit at times on his team, but he is such a rock on that team, and he's one of the players I'm looking out for throughout this series.
Absolutely. So first blood going over to Team Envy. They'll look to try and make it 2 pretty quickly as Violent Panda and the rest of GFE trying to stave off this early onslaught coming towards them. It's the ball neutral for the timing, and only over to it got to Remco as Turbo plays the ball straight back out. Devo going to try back pass. Greasy wasn't quite in the best position for that, though, and just has to gasp as he plays the ball over to the side. Now it's GFE's opportunity to go on the offense, and they have to try and make this count because opportunities are going to be few and far between for both these teams.
Yeah, smart play there from Greasy, though. He softly touches away that poor back pass and then waits for the boost, just sits on it and tries to get a 50-50 with K-Dop right here. K-Dop throwing the ball forward, cannot get the angle. Greasy gets back just in time, and Envy are holding on.
Currently in defense, looking for a big clear. No one to aim for except to try and force Violent Panda up into the air. Takes boost away from Violent Panda and allows everyone else on Team Envy to move themselves forward and get into position for shots exactly like that. Remco picks himself up a brace in game 1.
Devo off the wall, and just like no one's really available for Gale Force, and Remco just cleanly secures that goal. It comes down to sometimes you just don't have the boost or you don't have that back wall defense ready, and versus these solid teams in Europe, you cannot leave your back wall unguarded. And Envy makes them pay and takes another 2-0 lead. And remember, guys, they just swept Gale Force on Sunday. They're looking to do it again.
Starting to find out more and more now as these teams become more steadfast and we manage to get more rivalries going on. But there's a couple of boogeyman teams out there. Team Secret to Fanatics want definitely a very good example of that. Envy would love to turn themselves into Gale Force's boogeyman team. As Remco flicking the ball up. Going over to Devo, who must have expected Violent Panda to be coming forward to challenge him. Ends up playing the ball straight into his path. It's Gale Force trying to break down this defense. K-Dop couldn't quite get contact. Going to force Violent Panda just to go for a recovery touch. He's done very well with this, actually. Violent Panda keeping the pressure on and allowing his team to get back. That's Greasy. Another long launch. To no one in particular, just to keep the ball away. But with 2 minutes remaining, Gale Force need to start getting players to maybe make target men because they just keep hitting the ball away with no real goals or aims.
And speaking of boogeyman teams, I think Remco's a little happy that iIgnite's not playing. We see a scoring chance here. Turbo pulls it away, but Remco, lately, you know, there was some Twitter drama between him and iIgnite a couple months back, and iIgnite's been making him pay throughout this offseason. Team Secret taking out Envy in both the DreamHack qualifiers and the Hyper Cup finals. So without Team Secret, it looks like Envy's been playing extremely well versus other teams, though.
Turbo, ball up high. There's going to be no follow-up for a very long period of time, but Remco, huge mistake from him. The offensive pressure is still on. It's going to keep hitting off the backboard. If only you got points for that, but they do not. And Envy will escape with their clean sheets still intact. Just seemed like Gale Force were happy to set it up for each other, but no one was happy to try and take the shot themselves.
And finally there, Turbo gets the first shot for Gale Force, and that's 4 minutes into play. not something you see a lot, but great pass and play there from K-Dop. Right back down to Turbo, and Turbo is not going to miss one of those, and he does his old shake and bake for us on the replay.
Absolutely. If the backboard isn't working, go to strategy number 2. The infield pass coming out, and the lead has been dropped, cut significantly to a 1-goal deficit. A very good kickoff from Devo, delaying his move up so he could take the ball immediately and keep momentum on his side. Greasy looking to get a tap. Couldn't quite get it, but Remco is still shadowing. And Devo's going to take his time. That's still dangerous. Violent Panda up first, but he does get blocked by Greasy. K-Dop, though, still with the ball in his grasp. Looking for yet another infield pass, but this time Turbo Pulsar cannot quite reach it. 40 seconds remaining now. 2 players committed. Violent Panda, he's got options. Looks for K-Dop. K-Dop gets off the backboard. Follow up is going to be there. But it's going to be Greasy to the ball first. Nail-biting stuff from Team Envy, but they survive again.
And Violent Panda, when he shot that downfield, he was in the air. He landed too far downfield, had no momentum left, and had to try and shoot that by basically being on a standstill. And Greasy's like, nope, I got the momentum. I'm going to drive right by you and deflect that away. And Envy holding on here when Gale Force is starting to pick up those passing plays. So watch out going into game number 2. But Envy secures this win right there with the Remco dunk. And once again, that is now 4 straight for Envy versus Gale Force throughout this week. Envy is showing why, hey, we're back. Like, a lot of people have questions about, is Devo playing enough? Is Remco and Greasy, like, have they lost that passion? But they're taking on the best team in the world right now. 4 straight games in a row throughout this week. It looks like they're ramping up just at the right time for the major events coming up.
A huge shooting discrepancy. 9 shots to 2. Gale Force couldn't quite dig their heels in and get that much space to work with. And you can see exactly what the result is. And I'll tell you something, Gibbs. Yes. After the previous series that we watched, it was nice just to see a team hold on to a lead for a change.
That's always nice when you don't blow lead with 30 seconds left. I thought they might have. Like, Greasy went for a very aggressive play around 45 seconds left. That deflection where he tried to get it, like, past his car, using all of his boost and getting out of position. I don't really like to see those plays when you have a lead, because it didn't really pay off for them. There was a scoring chance for Gale Force right after that. So maybe keep that in check a little bit, Envy. But at the same time, like, if you have some confidence going on, why not go for it? And maybe, like, Envy's just feeling good right now. They're feeling like they can take it to Gale Force. They can go for these risky plays. And sometimes, even though they don't work out, it's still a threat. And it'll keep Gale Force on that back foot. Maybe get some less scoring chances because of that. So,
the good news for Gale Force: we are out of best of 3. This is a best of 5. It's not quite as squeaky bum time as it would have been in a previous round. They now have their opportunity to speak to each other, especially now that the server did go down for maintenance. They've had even longer to talk to one another and figure out exactly what went wrong. And I'm looking forward to see what changes that they've managed to come up with in game number 2, because things do have to change. I think to start with, it's just their clearing and their approach to creating opportunities, because, as I mentioned during the game, there was a lot of, hooray, we've got the ball away from our net.
Yeah.
Oh, the ball's now back towards our net.
But my question, Shogun, is what is squeaky bum time? Please let me know. Like, I'm not sure what that is. Does that include rubber ducks somewhere? I'm not sure how this works.
No, don't.
Okay, I'm not sure what squeaky bum time is, but you'll have to teach me when we're in Germany later this week. So
absolutely, I'll go through all of the Britishisms with you. You'll know all of them.
Like, I know biscuits. That's about it. That's all I know.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I forgot that one was different. Now, will anything be different in game number 2? Gale Force would like to say yes. And they're going to make a good start to the match. No finish. The ball ricocheting off the crossbar will mean that we stay at 0-0. But Gale Force, if you were to judge a game on their opening 20 seconds, it was a very good opening 20 seconds.
Yeah, we saw later on in game number 1, Gale Force is starting to get those passing plays. They're getting more offensive opportunities like this one. K-Dop securing the goal. And if anyone's going to secure a goal on a pretty much wide open net, it's going to be K-Dop. Right there, Turbo, a little bit of an aerial dribble to force out that bad clear, and K-Dop, he's not going to miss those.
Absolutely not. Turning in the offensive pressure they did receive, and they've managed to get as many shots off in the opening half a minute of this game as they did in the full 5 minutes of the previous one. Remco tries to take out Turbo Pulsar, but couldn't quite get the demo. And now it's going to be Envy setting themselves up for the siege. Although a wry infield pass for a Remco who was already retreating back will immediately switch the pressure over to Gale Force. Devo faking out Violent Panda. Now trying to force the 50 against Kalop, but Kalop comes out best. Now the passing play over to Turbo. Great pass, but Remco reads it near perfectly and will take away the pressure.
We were talking about passes earlier. Like, you want to be as close as possible because these teams are so good at turning a pass that's a little bit too far out of reach into a counter play on the offensive side. We saw Envy trying to set up that pressure. Bad pass, then Gale Force goes. Then Gale Force has slightly a bad pass. Now Envy's on the offensive side.
Seeing a lot of attempts at demos on the defense as well. That is going to be a pinch clear. There's no one left in net. Wow. You hate to see yourself score a goal like this. Well, you hate to see yourself concede. You love to see yourself score a goal. You hate to see yourself concede it. Gale Force will make it 2.
And those plays are not obviously like trying to score, but those plays, like when you have a chance at a pinch, you try for those. When you have that open space, you see Violent Panda in net. The K-Dop sees him. He's trying to throw it off of his car to just get the clear, not expecting it to go in. But that one rolls into the net. And it's always nice to see when those pinches actually turn into goals. But again, you really just want them for clears.
Oh, Turbo Pulsar will do it all himself and make it free. Lovely coast-to-coast carry.
So a little bit of confusion here, thinking maybe K-Dop is going to make a tap. So Devo trying to figure out exactly how that play's going to go. It looks like he went for the K-Dop hit instead of Turbo just carrying that through. But that's what happens when you have someone on the offensive side that has a wide open chance for a deflection. He can bait out those defenders and force them to make a really hard save. And if he doesn't touch it at all, then you get a wide open net.
That's the reason why we had almost an entire season of the RLC Pro League where fakes were so prominent. Just as that particular strategy was becoming into play, it was because everyone just thought, you know, these guys are good. They're always going to hit the ball. And if you can condition your opponents to always think that, it offers you so many more opportunities and options on offense. And you see it being taken advantage of there. Violent
and that's
Panda.
Exactly...
I like Violent Panda's strategy. Violent Panda's strategy is hit ball very hard. I'm a fan of this strategy.
Yeah, just apply that pressure. K-Dop, actually great back pass there, directly onto Violent Panda's bumper. So again, the passing plays come out for Gale Force. But you were talking about those fakes and stuff like that. Like, I think that's the only reason why I'm still ranked in champion is because people think I'm much better than I am. So when I miss, it fakes out everyone. And it's brilliant. I love it.
4-0. I asked, okay, Gale Force, could you change something between games 1 and 2? They've changed something between game 1 and 2. Remco with a shot, but K-Dop is right down the line waiting for it. Agrees he's going to use a lot of boost trying to get to that ball, but he has managed to get it over to Devo. Very good keepy-uppy play there from Envy, but it was never really going to be all that dangerous. Even if Remco could get contact, every single player from Gale Force was on the line just going, okay, we appreciate the red arrow show that you're trying to give us, but when is the actual offense going to be coming in?
Yeah. And also, like, 2 days is a big difference from Sunday to Tuesday when the major event of DreamHack, that begins on Friday. Everyone is ramping up into that event. And this is the perfect time for the Ting Open because we get to see these teams right before this major event. So this should be when they're coming to their best. And it looks like Gale Force is slowly ramping up into that if Game 2 has anything to say about it.
K-Dop realizing he's 1v1. Doesn't quite get the wave dash. Well, he did manage to hit it, but he didn't quite land on the floor correctly as he careened off to the side. So Gale Force will feel comfortable with this lead. They'll feel like they can go on to win the rest of this series. It's going to be all down to Envy to figure out some changes that they want to make. Yet another shot comes in. Turbo Pulsar has all the time to try and get the save. He will not get to this one, though. 4-1, 1 minute and 18 seconds remaining.
So Greasy, I thought, could have had a shot on net, but Turbo was still in a bad spot for the secondary shot, and unfortunately, a poor clear from him. He should have just tried to tap that very, very gently to try and get that extra challenge, like another 50-50. Instead, he just throws it out to the middle. Kind of a panic clear because I think he had no boost. And the Envy at least get one back, but it's unlikely that they make this huge comeback here. But they can take that going into the next game.
Yeah, I've definitely heard of a 3-goal comeback, but I don't think I've heard of all that many 4-goal comebacks within the last 4 months of competitive Rocket League play. Remco want to try and get to the end of that pass, but it's going to be... Well, I think that demolition from Violent Panda on Devo pretty much summed up game number 2. It's been all Gale Force so far. As they want to try and continue it on. And if you're looking at Envy right now, what is the major thing they need to change heading into our third match?
They just have to find a way to challenge Gale Force on all of these pass attempts that they're having. Don't just throw the ball forward. Make sure you have someone near the ball at all times to not give Gale Force that time to do what they know best and just pass it back and forth between teammates.
Remco looking for a clear, but it's only going to go over to Turbo Pulsar once again. Big clear is not working out. It was Gale Force that was trying to make use of them in game 1. Didn't work. Envy trying to make use of them in game 2. Didn't work. It's these sort of players that you need to be going for. Take your time on the ball. Force players out. And even if you do slow play, you're always guaranteed to at least try and force a challenge.
Yeah.
So you're trading 1 for 1 at the very worst.
And that's what Envy has to hope for here. Because, yeah, like if you challenge, then there's no room for a pass. There's no room for those really hard shots that come off those passes. Like we saw K-Dop have some brilliant passes there. Violent Panda as well. And you just can't be giving Gale Force those opportunities because you know they're going to make you pay every single time. So, like, Envy's just got to go back to the drawing board a bit. Just try and be there for most of these challenges on these balls. Like, obviously, Gale Force is going to get space at times. You just got to limit those opportunities as much as you can and see if it pays off going into game number 3. But again, we're tied 1-1 right now. Like, we're talking all about Gale Force, but Envy did take it to him in game number 1. So it's very possible that they'll do it again here in game number 3.
Yeah, we've seen a very dominant first game from Envy. We've seen a very dominant second game from Gale Force. I think now that we've reached the best of 3 sort of situation, now we'll start seeing both of these teams really step up, take it to one another, and get these score. I mean, the score's been pretty close, but the shots, I want to see them much closer from both teams. I don't want to see as many major mistakes. And get this defense play out. The defense has been strong so far, but the play out has not been.
Now, I wonder if the pros actually get angry when they're tied 1-1, because then it's a best of 3. I don't know. I've been hearing a lot on Twitter, so maybe they get angry now, too. Who knows?
As far as I'm aware, Gibbs, yeah, pros are just in a constant state of not necessarily upset, but agitated.
Oh, of course. I mean, they're all angsty teens, right? So, you know, it's the way it is.
You need to get people into their 20s. Then you can just be, you know, disgruntled. You move up from angst to disgruntled.
Yeah, like at that point, you know that life is pretty much just depressing all the time.
It doesn't get better.
Yeah, like you just accept it. You just accept it at that point.
Oh,
Violent Panda. He steals the goal away from his teammate. He's like, no, I'm making this solo play. I'm making this double tap. I believe that was K-Dop trying to secure it, but beautiful flip there to keep his momentum going with the ball. And the speed that he reaches that second touch, absolutely brilliant.
Just... I mean, there's no other word for it, despite the game we're in. Rocketed towards the ball. That is the perfect start for Gale Force. Envy wanted to avoid that at all costs. Remco becoming a huge troublemaker for Turbo Pulsar in the background, but K-Dop had him covered and could prevent any sort of return goal from coming through. K-Dop with yet another flick. Seems like Gale Force is starting to ramp up their speed and their mechanical play. Devo taken out of it, but Greasy comes in and clears up the mess.
Yeah, Diva's got to be careful. He tried to contest the ball where he was going backwards to start this pressure from Gale Force. The play was just a slow roller back into the Envy half where 2 people were there already like, on the defense. So he's going to leave some of those balls open, just not try and tap every single one. It's better to leave some for his teammates.
Greasy going to try and push into the corner. K-Dop and Violent Panda. Okay, just Violent Panda then. As K-Dop does get removed from the map. Tap-ups coming through, but 0 boost on Violent Panda means that Envy can maintain their own pressure. Greasy looking for a bump on Turbo Pulsar. I think this is the next step up here, Gibbs, is just you're not allowed. You would have hated this if you were a pro, but if you are ever sitting still on the goal line or even above the goal line, so you are being aimed for.
Oh, yeah, for sure. There's always going to be someone driving through your crease, making you at least jump and try to avoid it. Then you also have to try and make the save. It's very difficult to do. K-Dop here. Oh, just misses that. Hits the right bar. And Devo actually gets the clear right to Greasy. And the counterattack, everyone thought that the K-Dop shot might be in. But Devo, very fortunate touch. And Greasy, great job to follow that up. Turbo is caught flat-footed, not expecting it to bounce out that way. And Envy, they tie it up on a surprising goal. But sometimes that's all you need. And right now, it's 1-1. And they just need one more here and hold on. And they can take game 3.
Yeah, that was their very first shot of the match. Just seems like Gale Force forgot that defense existed. Pushed themselves far too far forward and offered the opportunity for the clear pass. Now Remco looks to try and follow up with yet another goal. Would have loved to try and join Greasy Meister on the score sheet for his team. It just seems like Remco is starting to ramp up the pace now. He used to be a very good, solid, like centralized player whenever his teams have been performing well. Almost as if the rotation revolved around his positioning on the map. If he can sort himself back out into that sort of position, then the results will be very good for Envy.
Now Envy's getting a lot of backboard plays here, just not really any threatening shots from it, so their offensive presence kind of goes away there. But K-Dop, a really weird deflection there, and now Envy is going to contain this pressure, and here we go again. Devo off the bar, Greasy off the bar, Remco finally throws it in, and Envy takes the lead after holding pressure for about a solid minute there.
Yep, layup after layup after layup, and finally Remco comes in to finish off the job. Envy taking control in the last few minutes. It's been a very momentum-shifting game. Neither team able to control for too long, but if Envy can control for the next 2 minutes, then they will take game number 2 after a very solid start from Gale Force. See that shot there. Not that much power on it, but I believe that that's by design. Force the ball up high, get some boost out. And also, if the shot is not that powerful, it's very difficult to get a powerful clear. Meaning that there's an opportunity for Envy to start to circle around and force themselves a siege.
One thing I would love to see from stats is just like, when you lose possession, whose fault was it? That last play was K-Dop on that weird deflection that caused that loss of possession, and then Envy, they capitalized on it. But it's those little plays sometimes, those little touches that'll just sway the entire game one way or the other, because it's all about ball possession, and European teams are great at containing that pressure for like minutes at a time. So we'll see if Gale Force can bounce back, but right now it's all Envy, and right there, a double commit, and Greasy gets the wide open net.
Turbo. That first touch was alright. That second touch was criminal.
You have to trust your teammate there. He's got the better play. Violent Panda is in the net. He's a very easy clear. Instead of going off the wall where he's kind of behind the ball, all he can do is try and center that. And that's not what you want right there. And now Gale Force is down 2, and Envy trying to take a 2-1 lead here.
Yeah, but the backboard has been very useful for Envy to use at times, but Turbopulsar clearing straight into the direction of Team Envy, and now using lateral passing plays to try and frustrate Gale Force Esports. We need to try and find 2 more goals in the next 50 seconds. Good block, but Turbopulsar put it straight over to Greasy Meister off the backboard yet again, but there will be no follow-up. Instead, everyone from Envy rotating back. Very little boost around those, so they might struggle with this, but forcing the ball into the corner is going to make it very difficult to open up a good opportunity on Gale Force's half. And forced to start yet again from square one. K-Dop can't quite find the jump. Turbopulsar will look for a passing play. Off the side of the wall means Violent Panda is too far back to even do anything about it.
And one way to make Gale Force not pass the ball anymore is keep the ball in the other half. And that's what Envy's been doing for the last half of this game. Finally, Gale Force is getting some chances here, but nothing too threatening. Envy's just parked in the net and not allowing those passes to come out, and easily throwing it back into corners. That's all they had to do. They just had to waste time there. They had a 2-goal lead. And Envy will take a 2-1 series lead. And that's after Gale Force dominated game 2. But Envy bounces back.
Yep, a very solid game from Envy. They just seem to ramp it back up as soon as 4 minutes remaining hit. And just so clinical in front of the net, taking advantage of all the opportunities they got. And tell you what, Gale Force seemed to be happy to give them quite a few opportunities as well.
Yeah. It was definitely not all on Envy's side. Gale Force, a lot of mistakes, that K-Dop deflection, the turbo misclear. But Envy is capitalizing on those mistakes. And that's all you have to do sometimes in Rocket League, is just capitalize on what's given to you. And we see the counterattack goal, too, from Envy, where it hit Devo like off the post and kind of just spilled out. So 3 kind of fortunate goals for Envy. But again, that's 3 too many from Gale Force. So Gale Force has to try and tighten that up and not allow those to happen.
Absolutely. You would not necessarily associate the words Gale Force and mistakes too often together, but it has been the case so far in this matchup. But we're going to head into Game 4. And each of these matches have looked very different to each other so far. So I'm looking forward to seeing what Game 4 has in store for us, as Gale Force must pick up the win. Otherwise, they will be eliminated and not receive qualification this week, for the very least, into the Grand Finals. They will have another opportunity, and so do you, if you sign up for next week's Ting Open Qualifier. So make sure you do that.
Yes, one thing I want to see from Envy here is they're getting the pressure, but they actually didn't score many goals off that pressure. They only had 1 goal off of the pressure that they were getting. The other 2 were kind of counterattack goals. So I want to see them capitalize more on the pressure that they're getting on Gale Force and score them there, like earn the goals more than just get than to wait for mistakes. Because Gale Force eventually will stop making mistakes.
Devo up in the air, prodding away at Gale Force's defense. Big clear coming out yet again. Remco might have been found a little bit too far forward, but does get there in time to take the ball away. Now K-Dop going up from the reverse on the wall. Gale Force currently on the offensive pressure. Violent Panda looking for Turbo, and it was almost an incredible link-up play to put Gale Force up 1-0. No one saw that one coming.
No one saw it coming, but yeah, it's a very difficult play to make work, but Gale Force is trying for him, because why not? Like, when you have that chance, you go for it, because it wasn't going to be a great counterattack, but Devo, the double tap, what he's known for, but Remco could not clean up the goal.
Gale Force need to find a way of stopping those backboard touches. Every single time they come forward, the player that is defending is stuck on the goal line. It's the last place you want to be in defense. I'll tell you what, though, there's a worse place to be in defense, and that is staring down against Violent Panda.
Kind of an awkward play from Greasy, but he tries to do that on purpose, so he gets a 50-50 attempt. But Violent Panda, the change-up shot there, confuses everyone. Confused Remco, who's trying to dive across the net. Devo, he was obviously flat-footed because that 50-50 spilled out so weirdly. But Violent Panda, a great idea there to just tap on the brakes. And again, look at the speed he comes off the ceiling there. But Devo making a save just before Violent Panda can get the shot.
Envy will want to try and bounce back as quickly as possible. 3.5 minutes still remaining in Game 4. Potential for us to be seeing a Game 5, although Remco with another pass out. There's going to be no follow-up for a long time because Greasy wants to try and read the passing play instead. Devo wants to try and find a way out of defense right now, but it's going to be very hard to try and sort out. Remco gets it past Violent Panda. 1v1 against Turbo, but plays the ball a little bit too early, and Turbo Bolsa just sits back waiting for the ball to come to him instead. I've liked this a lot more, though. We're seeing much fewer attempts at long clears and only really seeing an attempt at it when there's just a lot of players around and you are just focusing on mainly getting to the ball first.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of challenges, just not a lot of 50-50s that go anywhere. But right now, Envy's holding on. Gale Force has had that possession, but again, both teams are so good when under pressure to not give a lot of scoring chances. Another counterattack play here. K-Dop, a brilliant save. Greasy kind of put it right on K-Dop's hood, though. Could have been a better shot.
Absolutely. K-Dop will be so thankful that the shot that did come in was right at him. Although, yet again, off the backboard, Violent Panda struggles, although he did manage to make up for it. Even if K-Dop wasn't able to get there in time, I do believe Violent Panda would have been able to come through and save himself. Now Turbo with the layup over to Violent Panda, off the wall again. Those two players coming together for very good passing plays in this match. Although not much coming out of them. Looking flashy, but not making any difference to the scoreboard.
Yeah, trying to shoot like across your body that Violent Panda just tried there is almost impossible at times. So he tried to make the best of a bad situation, but just threw it off the bar.
Turbo, good challenge from him. No one from Gale Force wants to move forward. They know that there's legitimately no point even trying. They have the 1-goal lead. 90 seconds remaining. Hold on to halfway pressure. Don't allow Envy to even leave the orange side of the field. You will take the win, although there is no one back right now. Turbo will try and scramble. The pass was too high, but he has managed to take out the defender. Turbo with yet another block. Envy, I feel like, just overcomplicated the play.
Yeah, for sure. I think it was Greasy who tapped it up in the air when they had basically a wide open net. He could have just let his teammates do the work there, but they tried to get a little too fancy after that double commit. There's literally no one back, and that's when you have to know and call out that it's a free net and just try and get that ball down as quickly as possible.
Going for the backboard yet again. No one... I'm seeing this too often now from Gale Force. Yes, they're up 1-0, but never having anyone on the backboard to try and intercept the passing play is begging a team like Envy to come and take advantage.
And a player like Devo, known for those backboard shots, you definitely don't want to give him too many of these opportunities, but Gale Force is still surviving. And Envy, they have not capitalized on those all series, really, I would say. So, but right here, Violent Panda beats the last defender. Greasy and Turbo cleans up that goal. 2-goal lead, 24 seconds left. There's still a chance for Envy, but they got to score quick.
Yeah, Greasy tries to chase the ball down. Usually he would sit in net and wait for the ball to come to him, but he realizes he has an opportunity to take out 2 players if he takes that ball away, so he might as well go for it. Unfortunately, doesn't work out for him, and now it looks like a near impossible task. But Gibbs, good news for us. Game 5 could very well be on the way.
Shogun, where's that button, I think you say? I don't know.
Oh, me and Carpet,
thing? You know, I don't know.
Yeah, we pressed the real match button, my friend.
I'm trying to be a cool caster.
You're trying to be a cool You're trying to put a cool caster, and you're saying me in that sentence.
That's
where you went wrong.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, there's no cool casters. Lawler, maybe.
Lawler's a cool dude. Have you seen those tats?
Yeah. Like, Lawler's pretty cool. But besides that, yeah, there's not many. Like, Carpet, he tries too hard sometimes. That's besides the point. Gale Force, they get the win, 2-0. We're going to Game 5. We got a real match on our hands. And whoever wins this is guaranteed a spot in the Ting Open Grand Finals that takes place on February 3rd and February 4th. And that'll be for $1,500, a split of that. Today, they're playing for $300 for first place, $100 for second. Third and fourth will walk away with $50. So no matter what, these teams are getting at least $50. But basically, this is a $50 match with the possibility of another $200 coming their way if they win the Grand Finals. Lots on the line here. And of course, this is the last time we will see these teams, most likely before DreamHack. So you want to end on a good note going into a live setting. And both these teams want to bounce back, or maybe not bounce back, but, you know, it's been a long off season. You want to have that confidence going into this event.
Yep, and the good thing about the last few weeks is there has been plenty of tournaments. I've even seen a lot of these teams, you know, taking part in those Gfinity weeklies that almost just seemed ignored for quite a long period of time.
Yeah.
You know, everyone's trying to ramp themselves back into the scene as Rocket League competitive starts to become the main topic of relevance. Turbo a lovely fake to start off game number 5. A must-win for both teams, almost pinching against the floor. Mechanical showcase from the 2-time world champion. Remco can't quite get there in time. Devo with the flick up, and that's going to go all the way in. Gale Force, where's the defense?
Yeah, we see maybe trying to get a little too fancy there, trying to pass back and forth or something. I'm not sure where Violent Panda was on the field, actually. It was a little bit far up there.
Is he in the game? Okay, yeah, he is in the game.
All right, so that's good to know. But there we go. Envy, again, just capitalizing on the Gale Force mistakes. They get another one. And that's how they won game number 3. Let's see if they can get a repeat performance here.
Turbo over to the side. Remco, great passing play, but Greasy hits the crossbar, his MO, and his worst rival in the history of RLCS and pretty much any competitive tournament. Remco now looking to Devo. Devo wants to try and find the net, but cannot quite get it past Violent Panda, who will be thankful that the shot towards him was pretty weak. Now Remco misses as well. Sloppy from both teams, and Greasy, the cleaner himself, removes the defender and leaves it wide open for Devo.
Yeah, right there, the demo, and then the respawn comes in right as this ball goes over the goal line. K-Dop tried to come back, or was that him? I'm pretty sure that was him with the demo. It looked like everyone got disconnected from Steam there, so a little bit of spectator glitches on the way out, but looks like the play is still pretty stable here, so we're going forward. In Envy, they have a 2-0 lead now, trying to beat Gale Force for the second time in a week.
That feels so good for them heading into the competitive season. Turbo Pulsar wants to try and find Violent Panda. Those infield passing plays have not worked at all against Envy, who are moving towards the ball before it's even taken a shot, as Devo is going to make it free. And for a tie-breaking game, the sort of match that is supposed to say, all right, these teams are as close as it can possibly come. We'll play one more match. This match is not even close.
Yeah, very poor challenge there from K-Dop. He's got to keep that ball down and right in front of him. He knows Devo's going up that wall, and it's so hard to win a 50-50 when they have the wall advantage. And Devo makes him pay, and just wide open net again. And Envy, 3-0. Gale Force has to make plays happen now.
Absolutely. Envy has just been so much quicker, making Gale Force look like dinosaurs. As Remco will take the ball past Turbo Pulsar. Now Devo over at the top of Violent Panda, who is by himself. Zero boost, did incredibly well to get that ball away. But Gale Force, this is the last position they want to be in right now as the time ticks away. And usually we don't bring attention to the time with 3 minutes remaining, but when you're 3 goals down, every second counts.
For sure. And there's 2 minutes, 50 seconds left. You basically want 2 goals, so then you have all the time in the world to score that last goal. But it's not easy to score 3 or 4 goals back to back to back against these really solid teams. That's why we rarely ever see it in the RLCS. And usually when we do, it's usually with the weaker teams. That's just generally how it works out. So Envy looking to hold on the lead. We'll see if their midfield defense can come up big here. That's all they really need to do. Don't go in for anything too crazy. But Devo tries for the deflection there. And everyone just flat-footed on Gale Force. See if they can get the counter-attack play. No! Greasy with the challenge. And this is exactly what Envy needs. Just that midfield defense wasting that time away.
Yeah, the reason why everyone looked flat-footed because no one was above 20 boost. Anyway, really in position to try and take the ball away. K-Dop can't get there. Does get the save. Jumps, hopes, and gets results for it. And now, Gale Force trying to play down to the other end of the pitch. K-Dop needed a stronger touch than that, but his follow-up does work out. Got options in the midfield, but does play it too close to Greasy Meister. You can see major differences in the defense that Gale Force and Envy have employed so far. Envy holding themselves not even towards the goal line, but instead towards the halfway line of their own half and just taking the ball away every single time. And whilst on the other side, we're just seeing Gale Force always on their goal line, or in this situation, not anywhere near their goal at all. It seems to be all or nothing for them right now.
Yeah, I love how Envy is playing with clock management. They're just like, all right, let's chill back, just play that midfield defense. It's working out really well. The ball hasn't been near their net at all, besides right there on the fake kickoff play. But Envy is feeling good. They're going for fake kickoffs. They're having a good time. But they're not trying to go for anything too risky. They know Gale Force is a really good team, and you don't want to give them anything. So play back, let the ball come to you. And Gale Force, right here, we finally see a pass and play come out. Turbo, brilliant play to Violent Panda. They finally get the ball past that midfield line. Greasy, a little bit of a poor clear. The demo from Remco won't matter, and Violent Panda secures it.
Absolutely. The first time that we managed to get one of the infield passes to result in a goal. It's after the third man in the form of Greasy Meister did make a poor clear. So 1 minute and 10 seconds remaining. Devo was trying to get the double tap. Goes underneath the defender and Toa has to get there in time. Flashiness might actually be the way to go for Envy right now. So difficult as a defender to, well, okay, hit the ball apparently. There's 55 seconds remaining, and a 4-goal lead has been reinstated.
At that point, it looks like just Gale Force is trying to throw everyone forward. Devo, you got to respect Devo on the walls, and Devo makes a really good clear, surprises K-Dop, and that's probably the clincher there. They're up 4 goals, 55 seconds left. Envy trying to make waves in the competitive scene to start 2018, heading into DreamHack and heading into the Ting Open Grand Finals.
Yeah, just seems like a matter of when, not if, at this point in time, as Turbo wants to try and force something. Couldn't get the block. Another passing play comes out. K-Dop will be the one to try and take a long ball clear, but it will be a convincing Game 5 win from the looks of it for Envy. And, you know, it's been 6 months, Envy, but it's nice to see you back. Yeah, as Violent Panda will turn it in for one more.
Violent Panda, man, his speed coming off these walls has been really, really strong. Look at that. He completely beats out Turbo. Look how fast he goes to these hits. That's one thing that I haven't seen from Violent Panda before is how quickly he is going for these double tap plays. If he can keep that up throughout this year, it's going to be very hard to defend for anyone.
Absolutely. I mean, it's the fact of the matter is that he's not thinking about the first touch. He's thinking about how his first touch will immediately lead to his second touch. As another one?
Hey, they're alive. They're only down 2 with 9 seconds left. They just have to score in 8 seconds.
I don't know if I missed the days where Game 5 was such a tentative affair that we only ever saw like 1 goal, and it happened in overtime.
Yeah. Now people, well, like everyone's so good on the offensive side now. It's just...
Yes, it seems to be a case of, I'm going to do the thing, it's probably going to work, and we're going to score like 8 times in our final matchup.
That's the end of the game. Envy taking down Gale Force for the second time this week, moving on to the Ting Open Grand Finals and the finals for today. Gale Force will have to come back in the next qualifier, which will be next Tuesday, same time, same place. Twitch.tv/Axeltoss, but Envy. Starting off 2018 okay. They had a little bit of shaky run, DreamHack qualifiers, but now Ting Open comes out. Hyper Cup, they get a second place finish there as well. And they took out Gale Force there. They take him out once again. Gale Force, talk about the champion's curse. Could it be happening again, Shogun? Or is it too early? It's probably too early. But, you know.
I mean, you know, me and you have spoken about this at length. You already know what I attribute the champion's curse to being.
You hate
I hate the idea of it because we'll talk about this another time. Either way, for the time being, let's not take away from Envy because if I do, I'm going in. Well played there. Incredible game 5, and they seem to be back to what they do best. It's a foundation-style gameplay. Do the basics, do them well. And I say basics in professional basics. Do them well, don't make mistakes, and take wins.
And we see tons of solo goals there. Only 1 assist out of those 5 goals for Envy Devo. 4 goals in that game. That's going to do it for the semifinals. Gale Force will walk away with $50. Envy moving on to the finals to play for that $300. Next up, guys, PSG and Fnatic, the other semifinal. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
So my average Ting bill per month is only $20.